What's going on, everybody? It's Matt with Anchors Away Junk Removal and Hauling. We haul it all but the mother-in-law. Have you ever thought about, what the cost is for a franchise versus a small business, starting it on your own? Well, check this out. I'm gonna break it down for you based on a franchise and junk removal that I saw recently. And I'm thinking, how the hell does anybody afford that? Versus starting your own business from scratch. All right, starting your own business from scratch. You're looking at using whatever, tools and equipment that you have available to yourself currently and building, not spending a lot of money. But even if you wanted to go hard and heavy into the junk removal business or whatever small business that you're trying to start, the cost of junk removal, and we'll keep it with that, is fairly low, right? Use what you have, rent your equipment until you build your finances to afford bigger and bigger trucks or trailers or the combination of truck and trailer, whatever it is, or even a box truck, all right? So starting off in junk removal, I thought, I had to have something that looked the part, something that could do the job, being a little bit older and retired from the military, I had to kind of look at cost of truck and trailer because I didn't have a truck and a trailer in the beginning. I didn't even have a truck. I had an SUV. And in the beginning, I was using that and I was renting Home Depot trailers and trying to figure out the most economical way to start my business. So what I ended up doing was I went on the Truck Trader site. It's a website that has all over the country. You got all different types of landscape trucks, dump trucks, whatever it is. And I happened to find a truck that was $15,000. It was a dump truck in a Isuzu, the one that you see in the videos, the pictures and all that. And then I'm like, 15 grand for a used Isuzu dump truck. You only have to load it once. It has a tarp, it's a diesel, which I don't really know. I'm kind of conflicted whether I want gas or diesel at the time, but it was a diesel, a 5.2 liter diesel. And the Isuzu actually has the GMC 5.2 liter diesel motors in them. But what I'm saying is I ended up reaching out and that truck was already being used for junk removal in another state. So I came up with the time, went down, took a look at the truck, test drove the truck, and ended up purchasing the dump truck that everybody sees on my videos on my website. So that was 15 grand. And then I used about 5 grand for marketing and to get all my, stuff for business, my shirts, my hats, bandit signs, business cards, just various type thing, right? So we're at $20,000, right off the cusp. And then the cost to do business, I would start going out using all the free apps, using all of the things that I could without spending money at first after I purchased the marketing items, and posting on different social media sites. Started, not really even making videos. I was just out there on social media getting a couple jobs at first, and then the word started to spread. But tools and equipment, I really found out that you don't have to purchase. Maybe you get a used dolly off of OfferUp, but you don't really have to make these purchases on tools and equipment. Tools and equipment you're gonna get at these jobs that you go to. People get rid of so much. Wheelbarrows, you're gonna get dollies, you're gonna get carts. There's so much over time that you're gonna collect and be able to use in your junk removal business. Now, I did buy the dolly. I already had tools just because, I feel like everybody should have a tool bag and the basics. So I just started with the basics. I found out later on I probably should invest in a Sawzall. So I bought a battery powered Cobalt Lowe's Sawzall. So honestly, I got all in in the business. I mean, really with less than $25,000. At this time that I'm researching and I'm looking, I'm trying to figure out best ways to start my business. I got a call from a franchise because I inquired about what it would be, you know? And I'm gonna just tell you off the rip, I'm not a fan of franchises. I'm not a fan of what they promise you and what you actually get for the money that you're gonna spend. So this one particular franchise, I'm not gonna name names, but it's a pretty big franchise out there for junk removal. And now, I mean, after seeing the numbers, I can understand why they charge what they charge. And I understand that they got to kind of recoup some of their money. So if you're looking into franchises, this one particular franchise, to be a franchisee owner, you only get a section of the area that you're in. It's a territory. So you have a territory that you're assigned, that you're purchasing, basically. And if there's other surrounding franchisee owners, you're only restricted to that one area of where you bought in at this franchise. So the cost of this one franchise can vary between, you know, they'll say 90,000 to 150,000. And what that's supposed to include is the franchise fee, the marketing expenses, and other startup costs. But they don't tell you everything. Like, you really need to dig into the franchise model before deciding that's what you want to do, because there's a lot of hidden things that they just don't tell you. So franchise fee, we'll break it down. If we say it's $90,000 to $150,000, right? Let's break it down. Let's say it's, I don't know, 70,000. 70,000 is a good in the middle type deal. And then you're gonna need liquid capital. You're looking at liquid capital being in the ballpark of 80 to 90,000. So we'll just go 80,000 for your liquid capital. Oh, you have to make sure that your net worth is $150,000 or above in order to be in this franchise. Marketing expenses of $25,000. Computer software and hardware is at $1,500 to $4,000. Let's go on the cheap side and say $1,500. Opening cost, you're right at $10,000. Working capital varies. Working capital, right? This is the money that you're going to use to start hiring and paying and using it for insurance and all these other things, rent, whatever it is for your structure. When, if you started on your own, you just do it yourself and work out of your house. So we'll say working capital is at $30,000. Right there is $216,500. And I tried to go on the low end, right, to get your business up and running. And these guys are out there charging premium prices to, you know, for them to take junk, haul it away, whatever. And they're still out there stealing my signs. You know what I mean? Like, we're not competing with them, but they're out there stealing signs, replacing our signs with, you know, their signs, practicing some bad business. That's the franchisee owner. Not all franchisee owners are bad, but some are pretty shady. And then when you try to have a conversation with them, they don't want nothing to do with you. At that time, you're too small to talk to them, but you're not small enough for them to take your sign and replace it with their sign. You know, what you make every month. Here's something else with the franchise model. You're a franchisee owner. You just made $20,000 in your business for this month. They're going to take 8% every month of your gross revenue. 8%. So if you made $20,000 gross, they're taking $1,600 every single month. If you had a bad month, maybe you did $5,000, they're going to take $400 every single month. You're going to pay the franchise the royalty, right? you have to pay them after all the money you just spent. You still have to pay them every single month a franchise royalty of 8% of gross revenue, right? I'll be honest with you. The hell with paying anybody for what I have put in, my work, my blood, sweat, and tears, my business, right? It ain't worth it. I mean, if you want to throw some money away, go ahead and cash at me all that extra money that you got. But, you know, I'm thinking like, I don't need to give up almost $200,000 and then give you 8% of my gross revenue every single month. When we back this thing up, let's rewind to where you started on your own for $20,000 or less, or maybe even cheaper than that, right? Maybe you started under $1,000. And honestly, if you already have a truck, you can start well below $1,000, excuse me. So look at the two models. Make sure you do your homework. What are you getting for the franchise fee? What are you getting in return for the money that you gave them for the franchise marketing cost and expenses, the various capital that you're gonna have to have? What is it that you're actually getting? Yes, they have a big presence online. Yes, they have a marketing team. Yes, they have an accounting team, but you're still gonna have to have your own accounting. You're still gonna have to start your own LLC. You know, there's things that they just don't tell you, and then you're locked in. You know, is it a 5-year? Is it 10-year? You know, how long is this agreement with the franchise gonna be? And then what's the cost of, oh, in 3 years, I'm about to do something else, I'm gonna pivot, I'm gonna try something else. What's the cost to get out of this contract, right? A lot of times, they're very locked tight, and you're not gonna be able to just walk away from the franchise without you gotta give up more money, man. You gotta pay up. But it's these things that you have to look at if you're considering, you know, the franchise model versus small business. You know, small business model, you go as you go, you pay for things as you get paid, you pay your labor guys, friends, family, or maybe you hired somebody. You know, in the beginning, you don't need to go all in because you don't even know if this is something that is a long-term solution. Maybe you're part-time, maybe this is a side hustle. And if you do have that kind of money and you do invest in becoming a franchisee owner, you're restricted to a territory. Like, you could have here in Hampton Roads 7 cities, but I'm restricted to a territory within one city to operate, and then you're still taking money from me. You know, like, mind blown. I don't have a clue. But this is just a video I wanted to make of small business versus franchises, and you got to just do your homework. You know, I hope you guys are having a great week. Remember, just do your due diligence, do your homework, and honestly, you don't need to buy into a franchise. You can do this without giving somebody else all your money. So until next time, it's Matt with Anchors Away Junk Removal. We do haul it all but the mother-in-law. We appreciate your business. I appreciate y'all's comments, the subscribers, the likes, you know, watching my video. We're at 2,200 plus subscribers. We're 1,550 watch hours away from being monetized here on YouTube. I love the platform. I love being able to share knowledge. I love having this platform where I can maybe impact one person to start their own business, start their own journey. And hey, let's all win together. Until next time, remember, it's no excuses, just hustle. Hey guys, thanks for watching my videos. I appreciate if you like, subscribe, and comment below, and let me know what you think.